Welcome to the Men's Lifeline Academy podcast, where we bring on stellar men who have a story to tell, a story that's going to be used to help other people. And today, this guy's been trying to get on for a while, and today he finally graced up with his appearance. He came from the forest. Tom, the investing tiger from X. Tom, how are you doing today?
Hey Zach, how you doing today, buddy? Great to be here. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to the conversation.
I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time, especially given your experience of being able to learn how to handle money because you're all about investing and how we can improve people's marriages, knowing what's healthy versus
Right.
unhealthy. And you're going to shine some light on that by just
Yeah.
diving deep into the forest so that way we can see what's going to happen. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first, Tom?
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm Tom the Investing Tiger on X, and a lot of what I talk about is finance, personal finance, managing money. I had spent 30 something years in the financial services industry, was a practicing certified financial planner. So I kind of grew up. I mean, it's crazy to think I started in the industry. You can do the math. I'm not as young as I look. 30 something years in there. I started when I was about 21 years old, which is kind of crazy looking back on it now. Um, so I've seen a lot, and I specifically have seen a lot how um, people do funny things with their money, and even funny things with their money when they're married. And I've also been married, fortunate to be married to the one wife, same wife, for 31 years. So I've watched Storied on the Outside with Money. Thank you. And she's great. She takes care of me, looks after me, and all that kind of stuff has been good. So, Zach, I know you probably know this. What's one of the I always think and always hear this. What's one of the biggest reasons just marriages fall apart?
Well, you got a few of them. I know divorce, obviously. Well, we're talking about divorce, so obviously with financial being one, and then typically it's like with
Right.
the loss of a child.
Yeah. Yeah, I certainly I can fully have a heart, and thank gosh I haven't had to walk there. Tragedy definitely is the case. You can't. I don't think you can avoid that. Infidelity, things like that. But
Big one,
this
yes.
can be somewhat controllable. But you're right, it's finances, it's financial stuff. So got learned some things and seen some things along the way.
So, what leads, like, what's kind of from your 30 years of experience, what have you seen with the financial part that kind of breaks
Right.
people away from each other?
I think when there's a certain level when it comes to finances, there is an emotional footprint that goes with it. We think of it as just a physical balance, a certain dollar amount, but really there's what I call it an emotional footprint that goes along with it. How you're handling decisions you're making, and this is the big one, what you're sharing and disclosing with your partner. I mean, think about it. If you're not transparent, how could you be trusting on other things? If there's this cloak of secrecy over things, it probably is showing up not just with money, it's showing up in other places. It's one of the biggest things I've seen. I've got stories and I've got some examples of that really were impressed upon me. Um, Watching married individuals, clients that I had, how they handled their money with one another, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it can be a minefield, or it can be something that just brings you together so much in a marriage.
Right. So, what's like a story that you have that you kind of learned from that when you're kind of early on in your career since you've been in the finance
Yeah.
industry for over 30 years?
Yeah. So one story, I always think about it to this day, and it's been long enough. I can give the person's name, or at least their first name. I had a client. His name was Ernie. He was married. I managed his
Ooh,
brokerage accounts.
Tom, the audio is kind of not the greatest right now. It's not smooth.
Okay. Sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. Just a little glitchy.
Okay. Okay. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know what changed. I may have just fidgeted around and moved around. Okay. Take care. So I always think back to a client I had, Zach. His name was I can use it now. It's been 30 something years. His name was Ernie. So I was managing his brokerage accounts, his wife's brokerage accounts. And again, I was still in my 20s at the time. I wasn't married. My wife and I were dating, maybe engaged at the time. But the thing that always jumped out at me with Ernie was I think his
Wait,
heart was in the right.
the audio is not coming in again.
Is that better?
It is better. I don't know what happens. You start telling your beautiful story, and then all of a sudden it gets really choppy.
I don't know why it's doing that. I've got a good connection here. Is it better now? No, huh?
Yeah, it's better. We'll see.
See, I need it to hold up. Yeah, Zach, I always think about a client I had. His name was Ernie. I was in my 20s. I managed his brokerage accounts. I wasn't married at the time. I was dating my wife. Maybe we were engaged. But Ernie was an interesting person. I think his heart was in the right place. He was married. I managed his accounts and his wife's accounts. But what I saw with Ernie was he never wanted his wife to find out what he was doing. He had a pretty good sized account. He was married. They had a couple kids.
Hmm.
That always seemed odd to me. All right, so a couple ways at the time, back in the day, if you would make a trade on your account, you would get paper statements in the mail. So guess what Ernie did? Tom,
Oh,
can you suppress the statements? Don't mail them. Well, I'm getting an instruction from a client. I have to comply. That was on his account. Well, I guess even worse, he managed his wife's account. He had power of attorney over his wife's account. Do the same thing on that.
oh,
I've got to take the instruction. So you start thinking, my gosh, you think about it, the heart of a man, he's wanting to provide for him, his wife, his family. But it's like, those sayings, like if what you do in the dark can't be seen in the light, is it the right thing? Like to have that live that double life with your finances and wife, and he wasn't doing anything particular wrong. It probably went down to it was probably driven by, when he makes a lot of trades, you get a lot of mail. And then the wife says, what are you doing? Why are you doing all this? A way of avoiding that conversation. Don't need to have that conversation. Well, I got to know Ernie a good bit, and I got to know his wife a little bit too over time. Again, I was maybe 23 or 24 at the time. They were what seemed ancient. They must have been 35 or 38 years old, older than you'd ever think you could be. I mean,
really?
that's like they should know it all. But I'm thinking this doesn't seem right. Later on, I came to learn not only, I can't remember how it was back then. This was before the Affordable Care Act and things like that. Ernie was a businessman around town. I think he ran a pretty big like marina in a small town in the southeast, and he didn't have health insurance for him, his wife, his family. It's something he didn't want them to know. As much as I can remember, 30 years ago, that's kind of the gist of the story. And I'm thinking, I'm in my formative years. I'm not married yet. It's like, this doesn't sound good. This doesn't sound good. Well, guess what happened about a year, maybe 2 years later?
I don't even want to guess, but what
I'll
happened? Curious.
I'll break the suspense. They split up. I start getting the paperwork and the calls. We're going to split the accounts. They're going into divorce. So I'm not saying I had anything to do with it or that was the specific thing. Maybe this was a symptom of probably broader things that was showing up. So that was a bad thing I learned that was one important thing I learned with money more than any kind of pre-Cana, premarital classes that you might go through to your church. I could see it firsthand. I'm like, this is not probably how I'm going to run my house. So I think doing things like that avoided mistakes. In 30 years of marriage, I was able to apply it where, like, if I can't talk to my wife about it, like, that might be like signal number one. It's probably a bad idea. Probably don't need to go down that path. And well, that was a dramatic case of how not to handle finances, in my opinion, in a marriage. Well, I guess it's a good way if you maybe want to get divorced within a year or two. That might be a good path to take, but I suspect that's not the case. Now, I had a lot of other clients where you could tell there was much more harmony, and it seemed so much more peaceful. So that was my big shining moment of understanding of how to, hey, when I'm married someday, how am I going to structure my finances with at the household level? That's kind of it.
Well, it's good. So it's not good that they got divorced or anyone who struggles with money and like being deceitful and everything.
Yeah,
But it's amazing at the same time how you can go through an event and learn what not to do or how you do not want to live your life.
yeah.
So how did you always keep that as like a reminder not to hide things, especially if you wanted to make like a purchase
That's a
that
good
was
point.
maybe
Yeah, that's a good point. I always see this on talk to people about it, see it on X. Like, I don't think it's one size fits all. Like, if it's a certain purchase or a certain dollar amount, you've got to talk to about it with your wife. But I think vice versa, the wife should talk about it with the husband. It should go both ways. But I think there should be it's pretty helpful, some sort of framework. Um, I've heard crazy stories where a husband goes out and buys something. Maybe it's something related
Mhm.
to golf. Okay. New clubs just came out. Was at the golf store, had to get it. Well, a lot of times if you discuss it in advance, right? No big deal, go do it. But I've seen cases where a person does something, brings it home, then the spouse is upset over the purchase, but it really bursts the bubble, and they're upset about five other things. So this becomes the flashpoint. They're a little upset that you didn't talk about the golf club, but then it's like 2 weeks ago you couldn't go, you know, visit my mother because you're playing golf. It becomes so many things adjacent to that issue.
well,
Is
that's a good point.
Yeah, keep make like if I feel like um my wife's got my back, I've got her back generally, and um it's not so make it so legislative that my wife doesn't feel like she can um uh, make a decision or spend things. Although ironically, I'll confess to people watching, you and I both know this. My wife and I are planning a trip later this week, and I need some like travel size shaving cream of all things. Well, she was texting me as we were getting set up here. Well, she took me a picture, took a picture of three different. I mean, I don't care. Just get shaving cream at this point. I'm only going to shave a couple times while we're away. I don't care what it is.
Mhm.
She was making that decision out of asking me more out of care, not feeling like she couldn't make a $2 purchase without my approval. But my wife would never come home with, I went and bought all this furniture for the house. I just want to redecorate it. Likewise, I wouldn't do the same thing. It's just a courtesy thing. Like, if my purchase or my behavior is going to impact you environmentally, financially, one way or the other, it's more a courtesy call. Getting a person's opinion. What do you think about this? Stuff like that. So some people say, well, put a hard stop. If you ever spend more than $100, and maybe that might be good if you're really on a tight budget. I'm a little bit later in life. Fortunately, it's well, I'll be mindful of money, but not that tight. But more, it's now a level of respect thing, right? More of a level of respect. So um, I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. So it's kind of nice. You said there's really no because everyone's looking for that magic number. Like, how much money do I have to go do like a check in?
Yeah.
And I like how you also tied in spendings related to behavior. Like I just had to have it. Like I saw it, I wanted it. And not always having the forethought to even have a thought of how it can affect down the road.
Yeah.
Right now, you can play golf
Absolutely.
with your buddies, yet you can't spend time with the mother-in-law. Now you're going back
Right.
into how your wife is like doing a check with shaving cream. Even just make sure one, she's showing that perspective. Maybe you like a certain brand. Just having
Yeah.
more of a thoughtfulness to it. So how how have you ever seen like that kind of repair in the financial world where people were not talking about finances or one person's all did a
Yeah.
finance to then it became more of a conversation? Like, have you ever saw like that transformation journey?
Yeah. So another big thing, yeah, that's a good point. I'll just back up and say one other thing. If your budget on a monthly basis is razor thin, super tight and everything, and $100 or two one way or the other, you probably should have a spending cap plan, a little more defined in my opinion. Like I won't spend 100,000, I won't spend $100 on a purchase without asking, without approval. But it's a lot of times it becomes in my opinion, more than the amount involved, more than the amount at stake. So your other thing, where it becomes a transformation, the other big thing, this is a risk point. One, I'll be stereotypical here, partly because of age and partly because it still exists that way, but it's not always the case. You're married, you're in a marriage, one person, like one person probably does more of one thing or another. So if it is the male that manages the finances, the banking, the emergency fund, the investments, insurance, estate plan, anything of that nature, all the documents, and the other spouse just sits back and says, "Oh yeah, we're invested. We got investments. We got accounts at wherever Fidelity or Robinhood or that's the bank we go with." Don't just to make them aware, make them know. Have them go along with you. I want you to know exactly how to get into this account. I want you to know what we have. There's a lot of good resources online that could help you if you go out there and search, like how to. Basically, we're all going to die. You don't know when you're going to die, and if something were to happen, and I'm the one that's handling the finances, and I leave my wife in the dark, what good is it if she doesn't know how to manage the money, where things are? So I have an escape hatch. Make sure the other person knows. It's funny. My wife and I just did this exercise a few weeks ago. We have everything documented. I don't want to sound perfect. It's not, but we updated it, and then we did not just know it exists or where it is. We did a little exercise. Okay, so that's the account. How would you get into that account? I got the instructions there, the password, and where it is. Could you get in there? Let's just do a little tabletop exercise. I really would encourage that. If I think every marriage should have that level of transparency and transformation to it. Um, like I don't know how my
Yeah,
wife
they
does
did a
certain
little bit of a
things.
systems check just to make sure everyone could get in.
Yeah, I I mean I don't know how to do certain things that she knows how to do. But when she lets me know how to do it, and when I do it and I'm not doing it right, she'll let me know quickly. And I say, yes, ma'am. Okay.
Well, I'm sure it took a long time to get there to get to that point, especially with that respect. So, how did you and your wife get to that point?
Well, I think probably getting older, to the point of actually knowing where everything is. I'm not going to kid you, Zach. It was an afterthought in our 30s. We had other things we were thinking about. We knew it a little bit, but shoot, I'm over 50 now, obviously. And you start thinking about you start thinking about these things. You hear stories, friends, and so dies or something like that happens. Not only is it grief, he's like, well, I better get this buttoned up at home too, because I don't want to leave my wife in the dark. The interesting thing too that really comes up, and I come into this so often, and I'm not going to judge people on what to do or how to do this act, but I'd be interested in your thoughts or what you think about it too. I'm a little bit older than you, right? Well,
Mhm.
this is how a married couple handles their money. Like, this is the whole, do we even have a joint or individual bank account? I'm working, I got my account. You're working, you got your bank account. It's not a joint account. Yeah. I find when I talk to people much younger than, I put it this way, a stereotype, I'll draw a line in the sand here. If a couple is over 40 or in their 40s, they're more likely to have joint banking. If they're under 40, 30s, it's much more likely, it seems, to have individual banking. And people ask if it's right or wrong. I don't know if that's the right question. The question is, I like to think about is, let me think again, how would I do it? And I think about this in the sense, well, if I had to apply that on my own home, I don't even know how I would do it. We would have to run two sets of books, but a power bill gets paid at a one, or you got the groceries last time. Well, I'm going out of town on a trip. I'll let you get it this week. So, I'm more curious than judgmental in anything. Now, some people will say a man and woman should. That's all I know. To me, that's right. It's worked. It's never been a problem, and it's more of an open-ended question. And maybe even anyone on the comments that listens can share their experiences, pro, cons, or not. But Zach, I mean, that's a real issue that I think goes on in marriages these days, and I don't know, flips. It's different.
Yeah, that's a good question. I like how you said it's not necessarily right or wrong. It's how you do it, especially when you see the age differences between it.
Yeah.
So we're time out of curious now. Let us know below. Do you have if you're married, have a partner? Do you guys have a shared account? Why? Do you not have a shared account? Why? Just let us know. The more information we can gather, the more curiosity we can be. And I like how it tests more of a curiosity versus a judgment. So, what kind of
Yeah.
question do you have for me, Tom? What's the question you want to bring?
Yeah. I don't even know. If someone said I had to do it, I wouldn't even, well, I know I could figure it out, but boy, it'd be a lot trickier, I would say, easier than what I've known for 30 something years. But I guess when it's customary and you do that, there must be a system that works. But then if that works for you, I think the principle that we first started talking about is don't be like Ernie. Don't do everything in secrecy with the right intent, just have that level of transparency. Don't make money funny. It doesn't have to be. It's all emotional. Like if you're not living in trans, if you're living transparently in other areas of your life, why would you live in such shadows with the money, which we just said, other than infidelity, tragedy, and things like that, it's going to be the number one thing that breaks up a marriage. Oh, I hear these stories
Well, I
sometimes
think
where
that's the
I
main
feel
point.
bad. Yeah, that's right.
I think that's your main point is what is the intentionality of what are you doing? So I always have to look at like you said, are you keeping secrecies? Are you keeping secrets? Are you hiding stuff, moving stuff? You want the other person to say. So in my case, I am married, and so we do have two separate banks, but we're on each other's bank information. But we don't treat it as you pay this, I pay this, because we take the Dave Ramsey approach, which is it's our money. We don't hide anything,
Yeah, that-
and so
that's
this
what.
way in some ways, we have two accounts that's growing. You get a little bit of money from the bank, so in some ways, it's it's for us, it really does. We don't see it as this is my account, that's your account. It's this is how much we made together this month, and this is where the money's going. So I think if how you use it makes all the difference.
Yeah,
Like we have an idea how much is in each other's accounts. We have an idea of expenses that we both pay out of. And so we tackle things first, well, we as a team versus You pay this, I pay that. Then it becomes that
Yep.
separation, what you've been talking about since the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. And one last thing I really wanted to touch upon anything you want. I think this is another big thing that happens in a marriage sometimes. Uh, one spouse is, I'll call it the blind squirrel. Everything
Mm-hmm.
must be okay. Raise it, you know, in a healthy way, a transparent way. Raise a question. And then what prompts this observation, Zach, is um, things like debt, credit card debt. You, good
Right.
example is like Dave Ramsey. You'll hear these calls. I'm married and we're $150,000 in credit card debt. Or I'll read something in a Reddit
Right.
post and they talk about that. I'm like, okay. Now, one person will be sharing that. They might, the husband might be sharing it about the wife, or wife about the husband, vice versa. And I'm thinking, by God, well, if there was some sort of really bad emergency, a person lost their job, medical emergency, and they just somehow had to make, you know, survive to win another day, I get it. But if it's a spendthrift thing, I mean, come on, you gotta know. If my wife, I think about it in my marriage, when it was went on some spending spree, she's out buying this, buying that. At some point, I would think, well, where in the world is this money coming from? How are we paying for this? One minimum payment at a time? So you would have to be, don't be that blind squirrel. It's like, yeah, we went on a cruise. We went on a 2-week cruise, then we went on a ski trip to Vail. We took the kids to Disney and we bought all these things for the house. You haven't gotten a big, or I haven't gotten a big raise or promotion at work. You'd have to start thinking, um, where are we getting this money from? So it sounds crazy to bring it up, but I know what ends up happening. You're going along for the fun. Hey, we're
Right.
going nice places. I'm getting nice gifts. I'm keeping up with, I hate to say it, the neighbor, right? Keeping up with the Joneses, or I'm keeping up with another set of parents and family in our child's play group or something. I mean, this thing's it's going to cost you, and then that could break it down a little bit. So sometimes hiding something, saying nothing, doing nothing, all the nothings are going to potentially run you into problems.
It will, and I've talked to plenty of parents where they want to give their kids everything. Like they don't. There are some parents out there
Yeah.
who don't like saying no to their kids. So if their kids wanted something at a store, whether it be a toy, magazine, some gum, let's say, it's like they have a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
always have
I
a hard
think
time saying
there's,
no, and you're the girl, and you always think everything's good, then why stop a good thing, even if it's gonna always lead you to financial ruin? And that's why a lot of times people say when it comes to financial, it's both an emotion and a mindset.
yes. And there's no, I mean, some people can successfully draw it up, spend this much, we'll do this, or this is in scope or not. It's never been me. And I reflect back now, I'm like, well, it's a balance, is what I'm getting at. If
Mm-hmm.
if we didn't take our daughter to Disney a handful of times throughout her childhood, good gosh, we would be better off. Or we could have given her more money now in her 20s. But she's got the memories. Wouldn't say we got it perfect. Funded her college, paid for it, kind of old school. Started a 529 when she was born, and heck, we had a little funds left over. She's got 2 years of fully funded Roth Roth IRA contributions out of it, thanks to the rollover. Now, I'm not saying that's perfect. We could have done nothing, but I'm thinking you made me think of it. There were so many times along the way where, good gosh, we're not going to go out to dinner for no reason on a Tuesday night and blow $100 when we have probably at the time 2 refrigerators full of food, a big pantry. There's something to eat here. So those micro decisions, and I'd like to think that we we got it right. We could have probably. And you got to decide this as a family too. What you will, or everything's got a risk. What are you going to risk? No memories along the way and nothing at the end? It's a balance. Two ends of the spectrum. I know some people at kitchen sink it, they're going full fire, financial independence, retire early. They're throwing everything at by age 35 to be out of the rat race. And everything in the household, the marriage, the children are going to suffer. That's great. What if 35 doesn't come? What if 35 comes and 37 doesn't come? It happens. Like,
Right.
there's no promises. There's no promises in this life.
Yeah, well, that's a tough question right there. How do you have fun and still be financially responsible? I mean, that might be, maybe not going out to dinner, but can you go to the park, for a walk? Do something that, because there's a lot of things that are free, like going to a local library where there's a lot of different events. And so it's how do you create those memories, even if you're on a tight budget?
Yeah. So,
Because I agree. I mean, you got to have some fun in life because it's just going back to that respect and making decisions as a team. And that's what your whole point is. It's making decisions as a team versus like one person made decisions, other people going, okay, sounds good.
yeah.
No input, no nothing. Just go with the flow. Not in like a more of a carefree kind of way versus a relaxed kind of way, in a calm way. Like, okay, let's do this. We can afford this. We can go out to
Yes.
dinner once a month. We can afford $100 once a month.
Yep. A lot of people call it just being on the same page. I call it, I don't know if you have to be on the same page necessarily. Let me just explain. I was like, what? Has Tom has Tom lost his mind? Sure, you have to be on the same page. I don't know if you necessarily have to. I think you have to be at least in the same book, preferably the same chapter. Like you're working towards the same story. To be on the same page to me means like um, if I'm cleaning up the kitchen, I have to do it in these three steps because this is my wife does it in these three exact steps. We get to the same end result. Although I think I make a bigger mess when I clean up. I don't know about that, Zach, but at least being on the same process, like this is what we do. This is kind of why we do it. This is how we go about it. To me, that's more a little more individualism, respecting the other person. Because if you're going to be married to a person for 30 something years, okay, you don't want to be stifling each other out, locking up. Because honestly, there, believe it or not, there's even more to life than money, even from a financial guy. Like, respect some individuality, how we go about it. It's like, but you're right to that point. It's like, no, we just don't. Um, I was joking with a person that was talking about someone that didn't have money. It's like, yeah, money's so tight right now. I can't even. Full story. It's like the money's so tight right now. I'm having a cutback on what I eat. I can only get DoorDash 5 times a week now. I'm like, what? You know, it's like it's like
That's a good one.
it could be. It's true, but it's kind of a statement of conflict. It's like, really? Like, how did we eat before food got delivered to our doorstep? Yeah,
I don't know. It just magically appeared. It was always there. I don't know what you're talking about. I thought the food just naturally appeared.
yeah. Because we all love $30 McDonald's instantly delivered to us, don't we?
Hey, don't forget the tip. You may not get it if you don't get the tip. So maybe you didn't tip
Right.
the 20%, maybe you
Exactly.
didn't tip the 15%. I don't know if you're gonna get the food.
Exactly. That's good. So those are just some things that
It's
come to mind.
it.
Stories.
Well, and funny enough, life has a way of always coming back. So I know a lot of people are eating out and everything because now I see a rising trend of people learning how to even grow their own food because the cost of living has gone up. So it's like
Yes.
we go to one way where we're ordering out, doing everything. Now we're kind of coming back like a pendulum. And now it's like people are taking time on how to grow some food, what's it like, and
And
especially since a lot of people are just concerned about what's in the food, how does it affect them, and different things like that. Especially since a lot of things, I know a few people who are allergic to yeast, and if you look at a lot of products, like I was making a dish and I realized this like chicken stock had yeast in it.
Wow.
And so it's like really trying to pay attention of, do you just at this point make your own food because it's more cost effective?
Yep.
If you eat a bunch of chicken and then you just collect all the bones over time, you can make your own stock of it out of it.
Yep. Yeah, it's
So it's
funny.
interesting how life works.
And I guess I harken everything back to the finances too. There's some efficient frontier there, right? The more convenient, easy something is, the combination of it may be the worst end result for you from a cost
Right.
and wellness standpoint. Where that sounds like a lot of work to me. I've got to make something from scratch, get multiple meals out of it, clean up after myself. Sounds like a lot of work, but it's going to be better for me and save me money, but it's going to cost me time. Is my time better spent talking with Zach on this podcast than making my own shit? That is perfectly spent time, by the way. But you know what I'm saying? There's this tension, like anything, back and forth, right?
No, it's all about that. What is it, like you said, is it worth the cost? And it's learning how to teach people to even be critical thinkers. Because at this point, we're talking about critical thinking. How to get people just to think and pay attention, because that's kind of gone by the
Yeah.
wayside, where people don't necessarily know how things are going to affect.
Yeah,
Because there's so much in the. It's good to be in the moment, and at the same time, you do have to plan ahead for. So
absolutely.
if you're always like living moment by moment, even though life is made of moments, it's still challenging when you still have to put pen and paper and think ahead, like knowing how you're going to affect somebody and how they're going to affect you. Oh gosh, if I hid stuff on my wife and I went out and got $80 worth of McDonald's, I told her I was going to get $40 worth. Oh, doubled it. How am I going to hide that extra $40? It's like now you
Right.
have to think about how to lie, and as we know about lying,
Yeah,
remember to lie. As if you ever watch the course, like Judge Judy, you tell the truth, you don't have to have a very good memory.
that's a good point. That's a really good point. The amount of memory and effort it takes to continue covering your tracks, ooh, that's got to be tough. Yeah, I don't like that.
Sounds like a giant headache if you ask me. If you just tell the truth, and again, it doesn't mean you
Right.
don't leave out information here, whether you were conscious of it or not. If you're, you have to be very intentional to be deceptive. It's a very intentional method.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's See, what other questions, what other thoughts do you have on
So, how are you teaching others? Because on this platform we have, it's all about how to help someone in need. So, how are you? Because I know you're on X, you're really big on finances and doing, the
yeah.
latest stocks and things like that, and you do a really good job of the analysis of it. So, how are you really trying to help people to do all the 30 years of worth of lessons we have? Like, don't be deceitful,
Mhm.
build integrity,
Yeah,
be respectful, make decisions as a team, and really consider, in your case, making like a joint account,
yeah.
just so that way you can fully not hide anything from your point of view. So, how are you
So,
teaching others?
I- it's interesting. I like to try to teach it. So I come at it, as we've talked about, everything more from the financial aspect. I think that's my calling, that's my gift, my background. If I can bring that level of peace, equanimity to a relationship, that's my that's what I will do. I'm not there to proselytize certain things or suggest things I'm not an expert in. But when it comes down to the finances, it becomes the bedrock of as any kind of marriage and relationship recovering. There's we ain't even that could be a whole other topic. The financial recovery after a bad relationship or marriage, but that's we would probably spend another hour at least talking about that. But let's just talk about this from I'm in it, getting ready for it. I like to try to have content where, um, yeah, I don't judge people, just give people something to think about. So I did two things. One, a podcast that I had ran. It's pretty much money basics, evergreen content, how to invest, think long term, um, what risks you're taking. Like you think you're not taking risks, you're doing things for the right way, but really you might be taking on more risks than you have. Um, I just give people ideas to think about. Like I helped a lady not that long ago. She was making about 300,000 a year. Okay, that sounds like a good income. And you start going through. Okay, that sounds great. And she had a $2 million plus house. Sounds good so far. What if I told you it was in a very high cost of living area? It was a 1,300 square foot house. It was nothing to brag about. Then what if I also told you? What if she was going through a divorce? And then I told you she had two kids. Oh, 8, 10 years old. She wanted to know what to do next. There's a bunch of things that's very complicated. So I said, you know what? I- Thank you for sharing this all with me. I see you have $250,000 of life insurance, of which your ex-husband is the beneficiary. She didn't even realize that. I said, if something were to happen to you, what's the plan here? So I didn't tell her, go out and buy $1.75 million of life insurance because my method I use called DIME, which is kind of popular, common when you're looking at adequacy of life insurance coverage, suggest that. I help her come along with the decision. I think people will learn better that way. She had no idea. She said, that's a really good point. Like she's in a fog of life, big career, making money, but still barely getting by. And the divorce was going to make it tighter. See, she overlooked that. She knew she had life insurance and overlooked it. So I hope to share things about that going forward. Kind of what I've learned, how to think about it, but not going to give people the answer. I run a YouTube channel now. Same thing. I'm not telling you what to buy or how to do it. Just like, you know what? What I'm seeing here today reminds me of this. Have you thought of it this way? Do you think there could be an opportunity or a risk based on that? That's it. Some people say, well, you're not sticking your neck out. I'm like, well, if I stick my neck out, it ain't going to be right or wrong. It's just giving you a different idea. I mean,
I like that.
people-
I like how you don't tell people what to do because then it doesn't teach people how to think. It doesn't teach people that it gets like, tell me the stocks to buy and I'll buy them.
yeah, I just like to
Like,
lead people along the way.
how you gonna learn?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
mean,
are
I was
world.
kind of like that in the beginning of learning how to invest. Was like, what do I look into buying? Like, how do I know what to buy? And then you
Yes.
just look into it, you see how it grows, and you're like, okay, this is a decent decision. Or oh, I should have bought more of that. Like we're all gonna have.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Just
but
I
it's
love
always amazing to hear that someone who makes $300,000 struggles, especially when you fully lay out the factors. I think that's what people forget is yes, you could be making, let's say before taxes, 300,000.
Yep.
It'd be, after taxes, it's, I'm sure you could tell me. Yeah,
It
and
it
then it's
sounds
like,
great, right? It's just like anything. One data point sounds it should in almost every scenario be okay, but there are these outliers. Even that high $200,000. When I started looking at it, I was like, okay, great. You can sell the house, and that seems like the first one of the levers to pull. But where are you going to live? Because I, I know where you live. It's 1,300 square feet, and you don't live in the middle of a very pricey specific, that one neighborhood in town. Like if you move one zip code over, you'd be okay. Like if you're going to live there in that proximity, so you can work, you pretty much that's what you're facing. $2 million will buy nothing. So there's trade-offs that have to be made, but then it's like, all right, if you got all those, like if something happens to you, you're toast here. Like you can have all these debts you're leaving for the kids that are young. Like, what's the plan? move it along. So I try to help people not become, just question things a little bit, not become sheep.
Hmm. I like that. Yeah, I mean, you have to teach people to be strong and take charge of their life and how. I mean, there's so many things I'm hearing from you that I'm learning as well
You know.
to really make sure that you take care of yourself, take care of your family, and make sure like that you're really aware where the money goes, fully aware of what's at stake in investments and different things like that.
Yeah, you said
It's
a
a lot
key
of
word there,
responsibility.
You said the key word learning there, Zach. And as I say, I might know a lot, but I don't know it all or have all the answers. And I think if you keep yourself open to that learning concept, be like a lifelong learner with stuff like this, it makes it a lot easier.
Well, I don't think you need to know everything because I mean, there's so many different ways, right? I mean, if you look at
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey versus Rob Kiyosaki, people who are ultra successful who took different routes to get there.
Right. Yeah.
And one thing I've been learning a lot about is reducing the right and wrong aspect because you're going to get so stressed out by thinking, am I doing this right? Am I investing right? Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Versus, are you building it up? Are you learning about, are you investing in it, looking at how much dividends you get, what frequency is, what do you prefer?
That's right.
And are you willing to go from 20 stocks to 15 stocks and just reinvest everything if it's in a Roth? Are you even thinking about getting a Roth and just putting a few bucks in there? I mean, I
You're
think it's
absolutely right.
we get so hyper focused on everything when we're not going to know everything. If we knew everything, we would be basically beyond that point. And everyone would be like,
Yeah.
"Well, if you didn't listen to me, well, it's your fault."
Right.
Versus, what kind of life plan are you looking for? Are you looking for a quick, get rich kind of life? Okay, cool. Are you looking for building steady and wealthy? Okay, then how about this approach? Well, but the key thing that we were saying is keep learning, keep trying, do something with it. If you
Yeah.
messed up in your marriage, and is it beyond repair, or can you go from being dishonest to honest? Can you learn to be honest? Can you learn to handle that
Yeah.
emotion of embarrassment? Can you even say, hey, I screwed up, I bought something I shouldn't have bought, I knew better, sales guy talked me into it really good, he was a really good salesperson, and so
Hmm.
now I need to talk to you more about finances because I want this marriage to work. I mean, there's no one fit size all that we always talk about. So
See, that's a good point. If you're going to have that honesty, you have to be comfortable with disagreement. And sometimes you don't want to have the disagreement. So I better be dishonest about it. Problem solved. But that's not the way to go long term. It's going to blow up on you.
to your earlier point, do you want to stay in the dark or do you want to walk into the light? As long as that door is slightly cracked open, you can still go. It can still be wide open. Now, if it's shut, a little tricky right there, my friend. So, how about you? Everyone who's watching this, what about you? Do you want to keep walking the dog, keep walking blindly through life, or do you want to actually start waking up and see the light and start taking some responsibility, start making repairs in relationships, start having more respect for yourself, for the other person in front of you? And if you do, check out Tom. He has a growing X platform. He's on YouTube. He's done 150 podcast episodes. And if they're still there, Tom, are they still there?
Yeah. They still are there. Yeah.
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 So then you can check that out. And we're going to have Tom. Tom is going to be the first because with our guests, we always like to have them go first in the comments because we have respect for our guests who come on here, share their life experiences, have that boldness, have that creativity, and how to help people. So, Tom, how would you like to end this episode? What is a piece of advice that you like to bestow upon the person in front of the
Um,
screen, watching, looking for that hope, looking for that light? How would you like to tell it?
I would probably just give this last bit of advice, everything we talked about. If it feels Too good to be true. It probably isn't. Keep that in mind. Another thing is if you feel like you can't talk about it openly, it probably doesn't need to be done. That could be like, if you could just put that in the back of your mind, like if I'm going to do something and I can't openly talk about it with my wife, with my husband, whatever, am I doing the right thing? Like, why would I? Just remember that. I think that would save you a lot of heartbreak.
All right. Tom with the AED lifesaver CPR on your marriage, on your life, and with yourself. So if you got value out of this video, let us know below. Also, what did you learn today? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this if you got a message. And go check out another amazing podcast we've done with all amazing guests that we have, because we have a lot of amazing guests. And Tom, welcome to our road to 100 episodes. So I hope everyone has a blessed day. Thank you everyone for being here, and take care.